Hey friends and family, welcome to Marcy Creates. This is Marcy, and I have some more finished jewelry for you tonight. This is the collection from the SoftFlex Peace and Love, and I did mix some of my own components, and I did add some things. One of the necklaces, the one over to the left, I think you'll recognize, was one we did in our color theory class where we added turquoise, and then I finished off and did other projects within the box. So we'll take a closer look at these, and I hope you enjoy it. So we will take a closer look at all of these. I'll pull them down again. Thank you for your feedback on the way that I did the video yesterday. I think that's how I will proceed going forward so that no one gets dizzy. So thank you very much for the feedback. I want to make these videos enjoyable, so I'm glad that that was better yesterday. So we're going to continue with that. So this first necklace was a project we did with Color Theory video, and I will link the video in the description if you've not seen that video. But we basically took the Peace and Love mix and we added turquoise to it and came up with this really dynamic colorway where we added pops of turquoise to the fuchsia and the hot pink, and I added a black tassel, and I'm just going to slide in really gently so you can see we did the little elephant with the tassel, and just kind of continued up with all our beads, and we will take a closer look at that. The next necklace I did was you concentrated on the fuchsia and the orange, and I also added a tassel to this from my stash. I had a really pretty fuchsia tassel and made another dangle to go in front of that, and then of course I hung it from the SoftFlex black heavy wire on this necklace. This project was a lot of fun. I used more of the beads from the mix. I did add that chain in the back with the rhinestones. That is actually from Jesse James Beads. I will link that also in my description. And then the pendant below is a wooden heart that I painted early on in my YouTube career. We did some painting and making of our own focals. You will get a closer view of that. But I basically took a wood focal bead that I had purchased, I believe, off of Etsy, and I painted it black to pick up the black in the box, and then I added some rhinestones to give it a little bit of glitz and glam. So I made several pair of earrings with this mix. This is 2 pair, and I have another pair laying on the board, which I'll show you in a minute. As you can see, I did a lot of black and white seed beads. That was another color theory class that we did where we were adding graphic elements. So with this mix, since it had black in it already, I decided to go ahead and add some white so that we could do some graphic elements, and it really turned out neat. You'll see on another necklace where I did that treatment, and it's a great way to break up bright colors and also add a more graphic interest to your jewelry. So this is a 2-strand bracelet that I made where I did some wire-wrapped links with the black and iridescent beads. I also added a fuchsia boho bead, some of those turbine beads that are check beads, and then the tiara cast pendant with the dove. And I just used the pink SoftFlex, I think it might be called tourmaline, and I added a toggle clasp. And I did mix my metals, but also in this bracelet, you can see I did some black and white seed beads as kind of a graphic element. So sticking with the graphic element, I also made a really long pair of earrings where I utilized more seed beads, and I used those framed flower beads with the pearls in the middle. And I had some leftover beads, so I went ahead and made myself a little dangle ring. Last but not least, we have another necklace that I made using a lot of the beads, where I went in and used more black and white seed beads and that jeweled chain from Jesse James Beads at the end. And then one of the things I love about the SoftFlex wire is I got to do this little loop treatment where I basically strung the beads and then strung it through that little bead. We'll talk more about that in a minute. All right, so to take a closer look, so this is what I meant by the graphic elements. You got these seed beads just in a pattern, and you could do any type of pattern. I just did, you know, opposite, you know, one and one, but you could do stack 2 and 3. The combinations are endless. I loved the orange and the fuchsia next to that. I thought it was very cool, and the mix came with black, so it had a nice grounding effect to all these bright colors. Those hot pink beads were really, really bright, so I used them sparingly. I loved these fire polish beads with the copper, and the orange beads had a beautiful, as you can see, Aurora Borealis shimmer to them that kind of picked up the hot pink. And this is the loop technique I did with a boho bead, and I basically just took the SoftFlex wire and I made this piece and I wrapped it through this bead so that you kind of have your own focal bead, because I loved that boho bead so much. And I think this kit came with 2 different Jesse James strands. I think I got both of them. There was a hot pink one and an orange one, and I went for both. And then, full disclosure, I also ended up with another kit, so some things might be duplicated in here because I had extra, just FYI. But I just basically did a, you know, my own thing with you know, different stations. I wanted to have some balance with the bright pinks and the blacks, and I love the graphic nature of the seed beads in this. I think it makes it look very fun. And then you've got the sparkle of this chain, which I love, that you can get from Jesse James Beads. And that's another thing I love about SoftFlex wire, is you can attach it to so many different other stringing materials, and it's so flexible to be able to do things like this. And then I put a toggle clasp. I think I got this toggle from Bargain Bead Box. It was one in my stash. But yeah, this one turned out nice. And it's pretty long. You could layer it, of course. And it's just a very fun, graphic little necklace. So, let me move him aside. We'll take a look at these items. So here we've got a ring. And I did a tutorial on this as well. This is just wire that I wrapped around a mandrel and then used some 24 gauge wire to cinch it. We made a few loops at the top, and then it's great for leftover beads. And this one I made kind of small. It's more like a pinky ring. But I love having the movement of the little dangles. And these earrings were kind of my homage to the graphic element as well. I absolutely loved these flower lotus cage beads, and the pearls fit in there perfectly. And then I did a thin piece of wire, and I did more of the seed bead work. I used the bead caps that came in the mix, the bright fuchsia, and this little bead at the bottom is called a pip bead, which I'd not ever used these before, but they're very fun. They had a lot of nice texture. I think I used 26 gauge wire because the beads are so tiny. But I thought these turned out nice, and then I did kind of a figure 8 with the wire, the SoftFlex wire that came in the mix, and then one of these really cool black beads with the treatment on them, the kind of an Aurora Borealis finish. And then these are pretty long, so I would call these the shoulder dusters, but I thought they turned out pretty nice. I really like them. And then the bracelet is a 2-strand bracelet, and I just wire wrapped those black beads with the coating. I did kind of a chain, a bead chain, and then I used more of the SoftFlex, I think that's the tourmaline. Is that tourmaline? It's a pink wire. I need to look that up and see what color that was, but I had that left over, I think, from something else. Another really pretty boho bead. I did do more of the seed beads, and I did do room on this on purpose so you could see the SoftFlex wire. These kind of slide and they're fun to play with. And then this really pretty tiara cast charm has the dove and the peace sign on the other side. And then I closed all that up with a toggle clasp. So that turned out really nice. And I love all the colors together. And I love the mixture of the metals. I think it all just kind of works. And it's a very fun mix of colors. Oh, and these check beads too. They're real swirly. They have that fuchsia and the orange and the yellow in them. So I love that as well. And then I've got these earrings that I also made with the pip beads. And this is the black SoftFlex wire. And one of those gorgeous crystals. And the pip beads are just so cute dangling off of this. With the little black and white seed beads in between. I really like these a lot. And they're super lightweight too. So if you ever don't like to wear heavy earrings, the other thing I notice about SoftFlex is you can get a very impactful, colorful earring with not a lot of weight on your ears, which is nice. So these also had a really cool coating, kind of an aurora borealis. It had flashes of that fuchsia again, which I loved. Very cool. So very nice, lightweight, kind of chandelier looking pair of earrings. And not to be outdone, these are just, you know, strung beads. Well, strung beads, wire wrapped, but I did play with, I love the cage beads. I love the little crystal in there. And these are some really pretty bead caps that I stacked. And again, this rondelle has that treatment on it with the flashes of fuchsia. And I used a little fuchsia heishi bead up here. And I did use some black wire. I think this mix came with some black wire. And then I used some black wire of my own as well. And I love these drops, these orange drops. So these are just a nice stacked earring. Very fun. And I love the little caged beads, like I said. And when you're walking and these are swinging, those crystals pick up the light, which is so cool. Love those. Let me pull down the Color Theory necklace that we did. Those of you who saw this project will remember it, and those of you who didn't, I will link the video below. But I basically just introduced a color to the mix that was already, given to us. I added the turquoise, and that just created a whole nother color possibility. And so we had fun with that, and we added, I think I added a few more blue and black beads for my stash. There's some more of those pip beads, those little, I don't know, they look like little paisleys maybe. Just a shot of that really, really bright fuchsia. Like I said, a little of that goes a long way. And then I put a crystal heart bead. It was cool because it's drilled on the bias. I added a black tassel, and we made this really fun drop with the elephant to attach to the necklace. And then more SoftFlex wire and a toggle clasp. And I love the turquoise with these hot pink and orange colors. It's opposite as far as temperature. You've got the hot pink and the orange. Then you got this cool blue, which I think balances things out really nicely. Let's see. Let me grab this guy up here. So this also was one that I put a tassel on, and I made a drop. And this is actually a toggle closing, but I made a drop out of it, and I just stayed pretty simple with this one. I didn't add extra colors. I stuck with the colorway. I love these heart caged beads. I just put a little bicone in there, and I did use some black seed beads to kind of break up the color a bit in places, just to give it a little bit of a graphic element. And then I used black SoftFlex to contrast all the bright beads, and I just love these check beads. They're just a really neat, first of all, they're a neat color because they're not a solid color, and then I love the facets and also the shape. So I had a lot of fun with that. This is a really bright, happy, fun collection of beads to play with. So that's this necklace. Like I said, I didn't play with the colors very much. I stuck with what was in the box. I did love these silver hollow beads, and I think they have a little, some little sequins or something in there too that are sparkly. But the fuchsia and the orange and the black look great. And like I said before, I love tassels, so I never miss an opportunity. And this one's really plush, and it has a beautiful fuchsia. Sometimes fuchsia is not very pretty, I have to say. When you can find a really good fuchsia and then a really good tassel that's really lush like this. I had toyed with the idea of doing a little bit of peyote seed bead work around here, but I opted for a dangle instead. And I think it turned out nice. I'm pretty happy with that. And then the last but not least necklace is kind of a combo platter of things. Of course, I was telling you about this pendant. This is a wooden pendant that I painted black with some craft paint, and then I glued some sequins on here. I mean, yeah, sequins. They have the finish. They're orange with that finish with the hot pink, and I thought they would go really great. And I didn't want to be too, I could have made it really blingy, but I just wanted a little bit of bling on there because I didn't want to take away from the beads. I did do more of the pip beads. I loved these peace signs, and I did do them opposite directions on purpose, if any of you noticed that. That was done on purpose. Some of you have good eagle eyes out there. I appreciate it. Sometimes, I think the necklace I made the other night, I missed a bead as well. I have to go back and fix that, but some of you caught that. That was, I think, Sunday night's class. But I did break up the beads with more seed beads, and I love these rondelles with the rhinestones. I fell in love with those. And then more of these beautiful faceted orange beads, and then these really fun square beads with the finish. And then I used another Jesse James beads beaded chain, and I don't know where I got this toggle, but I love it. Toggle and kind of a flower, and I thought it was just cute with this. So I almost wish I'd put it in the front, but that was fun. I love to customize focal beads, and if you've not caught some of my earlier videos, I do have a whole series of how to make focals in different ways, techniques. Do check those out. I need to get back to doing more of those, but this is kind of like a mixture of the SoftFlex, Jesse James beads, and then something that I made. And that's really how you can make a piece of jewelry your own. You're not limited to what's in the box. As I've said it before, you can create your own piece. Obviously use the, this is the inspiration that they give you, is the colorway. They kind of nod you in a direction. But if you want to add another color, if you want to add a component that you created, or mix something from another box, you're the creator, you're the designer. You can do that. As I've said before, the bead police are not going to come get you. But what an interesting way to make a, once you've got things left over from other boxes, I highly encourage you to experiment and mix things, because you will come up with some very cool things. So I fell in love with this box. It was very fun to work with. I just dove right in. Happy to share it with you tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow night, there will be another finished jewelry for you. Like I said, I have a lot that I have finished that you haven't seen. So a week's worth of finished jewelry is definitely underway. So I think this is night 3. Probably have 3 or 4 more nights to go. And then we'll go back to our regular scheduled color theory and tutorials and all that good stuff. I do have an unboxing I need to do for, actually several unboxings that I need to get online as well. So be looking forward to that. As always, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I really appreciate all of you, your comments. All of you are just so sweet, and I really, really, really appreciate it. And I'm very glad to hear that I'm inspiring you. That's what makes me the most happy. And just stick with it and keep watching and keep playing with color. You're going to surprise yourself. You're going to love what you make. Just be a little, even if you're just a little bit adventurous. So that's my missive for you tonight. So I hope, again, that you enjoyed this. Have a great evening. Take care of yourselves and your family. Those of you in Florida, I'm thinking about you. Hope that you're safe. And I will see you all on the next video.